Hello. You ever been in a situation where you have a lot of RS-232 connections that you need to get the information back to a central location? For example, a factory floor it could be, or a utility, perhaps a railroad. In a railroad you have a lot of low-speed serial SCADA data, and you need to pull that data back to a common location. And the cost of WAN links and multiplexers can be expensive. What do you do? How do you handle that? Well, I'm Mark Rice at Cutter Networks, and I want to talk to you about how the RSD-10 can solve your problem. The RSD-10 is an 8-channel digital sharing device. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that I can take a single WAN link connected to 8 SCADA devices in my railroad, for example, and I can consolidate that to a common WAN link. And that WAN link, perhaps it goes across a fiber link, or perhaps it goes across today, it might be traveling over IP. We don't really know what's happening to it after that. But the point is, we had multiple RS-232 low-speed signaling. We needed to intermittently send it back home, back to the home or the railroad yard or control center, whatever it may be. You have both synchronous and asynchronous capability with this device. Data rates up to 19.2, and some real neat features to help you share a common WAN link with multiple remotes. Now, there are things you can do with this product. Actually, there's 6 different basic modes. It can be operated in a modem sharing device. It can be a port sharing device. It can be a remote port sharing device, a local port sharing, a mixed modem sharing, or mixed port sharing. You can have some of the ports as DTE, some of the ports can be DCE. And in your SCADA application, for example, we're talking about a railroad a minute ago, you might have different types. As long as they're all either synchronous or asynchronous, and as long as their data rates are the same, this little device will take care of it for you, basically enabling you to either communicate 8 links back to a single WAN, or perhaps in some cases you want to take a single transmission coming down that WAN link and transmit it simultaneously to 8 different devices. So you can do it either way. In railroads and other utilities and things of that nature, there are all kinds of combinations where this happens. Clocking can be taken off the WAN link. Clocking can be taken internally. It can generate its own clock. Clocking can come from from a sub-channel from port 1. And so you have some clocking options there too to sync all this up. In a minute we're going to take a closer look at an RSD-10. We'll look at the front and the back of it, and we'll talk a little bit about more of the indicators and things like that. Okay, here we have the front of the RSD-10. As you can see, there are a number of LEDs across the front. There's one for power, there's an LED for data. There are 8 LEDs, one for each of the sub-channels to show you if it's active. Over here on the right of the box, there's a more interesting section. A lot of this is going to depend upon how you have it configured as to exactly what happens here. But basically you have 8 buttons. You can push one of these buttons and you can temporarily disable a specific subport if you want to. The other thing that you can do is you can configure it so that if any given subport begins to monopolize the bandwidth, or basically blocking the other channels from being able to transmit data, if it stays active for too long, it can be configured so that it will automatically disable that port, allowing the other ports to continue to function. A lot depends on how you have it configured. In some cases you might not want to do that, but in other cases that would be a very nice feature. Okay, on the back of the RSD-10, you can see we have a power connection. This is an AC power supply. The unit can also be ordered DC. We have a power switch. We have a little switch to change it from 110 volts to 220, depending upon what country it's being used in and what your power supply is. You have the main link, the main channel going out, and then you have 8 DB25 RS-232 ports for your sublinks. Okay, now you've taken a look at an RSD-10, you understand a little bit about what it does. If you have applications where you need to intermittently send back RS-232 signaling over a common WAN link, hope you'll think of the RSD-10. If you have applications where you need to send the same signaling out to multiple RS-232 devices, the RSD-10 is a great solution for that too. And if you have questions, that of course is why we're here at Cutter Networks. We look forward to speaking with you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.